The month of April is almost here, and I have to say that this is without a doubt the best month of new PlayStation 4 game releases of the year. March was really good, but February and January left a lot to be desired after a couple games got delayed and whatever the case may be. But April, things are really picking up, and I'm hoping for the rest of the year it's just steamrolling on with a big game after big game as we head into hopefully the release of the next generation consoles at the latter portion of the year. But April is coming up, and we've got a bevy of great games to go over. So without further ado, we've got a total of 10 new PS4 games to go through, so let's get right into it. And I want to kick things off with, in my opinion, the most anticipated game of April, and that is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. What a long time coming it has been for the FF7 Remake. We can go back to E3 of 2005. Hell, we can go back before that when people really wanted to see a remake of Final Fantasy VII, one of the most iconic games of all time. I don't even have to put in a specifier like one of the most iconic JRPGs or RPGs of all time. No, FF7 is just one of the most iconic games of all time. Characters like Cloud, one of the most iconic characters in a video game of all time, and now we finally get to explore the Final Fantasy VII Remake on April 10th. Yes, it's not going to be the entirety of the Final Fantasy VII experience, but it is going to be a good indicator of what Square Enix's plan for FF7 is heading into the next generation and heading into this set of games. We do know that it's going to be expanded experiences. It's not just going to be like you get a third or a fourth of Final Fantasy VII and that's all you get. No, they're adding more content into this game. They're fleshing out the story, the world, the characters, a lot of the side characters. I wouldn't expect any drastic changes to the overall storyline of the game. However, I would expect elements of the game being fleshed out a little bit more. If you guys have yet to play the demo, do yourself a favor and play that, because that'll set the tone for what to expect out of the FF7 Remake, and I am incredibly excited for it. As somebody that played Final Fantasy VII a multitude of times, I'm incredibly excited for it. But for those people that have never played Final Fantasy VII, man, you're in for a treat here as FF7 the Remake will finally be out on April 10th. Alright, next up we have Resident Evil 3, another major remake, and it is coming. You can make the argument, and I'm sure a lot of people are of the boat, that Resident Evil 3 is their most anticipated game of April, even more so than the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and hey, I'm not here to argue with you on that. After the success of the Resident Evil 2 Remake, how could you not be excited for Resident Evil 3? Jill Valentine is one of the last remaining people in Raccoon City to witness the atrocities Umbrella perform. To stop her, Umbrella unleashes their ultimate secret weapon, Nemesis. Also includes Resident Evil Resistance within the Resident Evil 3 package, a new 1v4 online multiplayer game set in the Resident Evil universe. Now, Resident Evil 3 was a very well-received game when it was released on the PlayStation 1, but given the success of Resident Evil 2 and what that did for RE2 as an experience, if we just get that with Resident Evil 3, that is phenomenal, and Capcom could have been of the mindset, hey, we're releasing Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2 sold so well, why do we need to bundle in a new multiplayer experience with this? We could just sell it standalone, and then we could sell the Resident Evil Resistance experience as another standalone item for, you know, $20, $30, but they were of the mindset, let's bundle Resistance with RE3. That's not only going to entice people to pick up RE3, but it's also going to inherently bolster Resident Evil Resistance, a multiplayer experience is player-based, because now so many more people are going to have the opportunity to play it. I'm really happy that Capcom went this route, and another one of their opportunities where they could have been like, hey, we want to make more money, so let's go and do X, but instead, we want to, you know, help the consumer, we want to entice the consumer to buy our game, let's go with Y, and I think they made the best decision. Capcom's been killing it all generation, and I think with the Resident Evil 3, they're going to do it once again. Another title, a demo, is available right now, so do give that a look. Next up, we have Predator Hunting Grounds, a brand new PlayStation 4 console exclusive that, by the way, we're talking about free demos, trials, and everything like that. Predator Hunting Grounds, another game that'll be having a free trial weekend tomorrow, March 27th, tomorrow being as of the recording of this video, but Predator Hunting Grounds, a brand new multiplayer game coming from Ifonic. Hunter Be Hunted. Predator Hunting Grounds is an immersive asymmetrical shooter set in the remote areas where the Predator stalks the most challenging prey. Play as a member of an elite fire team and complete preliminary operations before the Predator finds you, or you can play as the Predator to hunt the most worthy prey, choosing from your vast array of deadly alien tech to collect your trophies one by one. The game has a lot of variety in how you play with all of the different classes and all of the different play styles, and if you're playing as the Predator, the mission is obvious: the hunt. Study the warriors in the jungle and choose the best of the best to engage. Dispatch your targets and collect trophies to display as tokens of each hunt. Do not let your prey escape. Failure is not an option as the Predator. And then as the Fire team, your opportunity is to do the mission or escape with your life intact, but that is going to be a difficult feat. Predator Hunting Grounds looks to be a pretty good game. If you have a Plus subscription, again, a free trial weekend will be kicking off tomorrow, so you'll definitely want to check that out. Next up, we have a brand new space sci-fi title making the transition from PC to PlayStation 4, and that is Deliver Us the Moon. Deliver Us the Moon is a sci-fi thriller set in an apocalyptic near future where Earth's natural resources are depleted. A lone astronaut is sent to the moon on a critical mission to save humanity from extinction. A game that was received relatively well by the people that played it. It has a very positive reception on Steam, 87% positive based on 1,517 user reviews, but only a 67 on Metacritic, so the discrepancy there is definitely evident. The narrative of the title focuses on topical issues like climate change and the depletion of the world's natural resources. Experience sequences of first and third person play as Deliver Us the Moon takes you on a genre-busting narrative adventure and be an astronaut, launch a rocket from Earth, journey through the WSA space station, and explore the open lunar landscape with the weightless freedom by foot, rover, or monorail. A lot of options in this game, but it is going to be a shorter experience at just $24.99, a game worthwhile to check out, and it will be coming to the PlayStation 4 on April 24th. Next up, we have a quirky little title in HyperParasite being done by Troglodytes Games, a roguelite twin-stick shooter brawler that never plays the same twice. Collect and control 60 different characters as the body-snatching alien parasite with a grudge against humanity, fight to the top of the food chain, possess the president, push the big red button, and one-up the human race. This is a game that's been in early access on PC for quite a while, going back to April of 2019, and now it'll be finally coming out in its full form, but in early access, it's been received very, very well. 51 Steam user reviews and 98% of that has been positive. Invading a grime-encrusted dystopia straight out of the 80s, you're the monster the authorities warned about. Dragging your bloody tentacles on the greasy asphalt, you snatch body after body. You are the HyperParasite, an evil alien with a bone to pick with humanity just because it's fun. Infesting the sickest corners of the most ass-kicking decade, you must fight your way to the top of the pop cultural food chain in order to push the big red button and bring about the mushroom cloud of finality. Be the baddest navigating the dangerous, procedurally generated streets of a hopeless past in this tough twin-stick roguelite brawling SOB. HyperParasite looks to be a rather interesting game, and again, with its positive reception, that's reason to definitely be excited for it, and it drops April 3rd. Next up, we have another JRPG. Sakura Wars makes its return over here in the West on April 28th. New Sakura Wars is just called Sakura Wars, and one of Sega's greatest IPs in Japan. Sakura Wars debuted all the way back on the Sega Saturn in 1996, and for this reboot, Sega brought back many of the star-studded cast to work on the game, and it is a very quirky JRPG. You've got dramatic character interplay, engaged with a colorful cast of characters through the dynamic lips dialogue system, where what you say and how you say it and how you interact with the characters are going to have a profound impact on relationships off and on the battlefield. Exciting combat payoffs, your bonds with team members flow into the high-energy combat finale of each episode. Brilliant anime production here, and main character design is done by Tite Kubo as well, and by the way, it just got announced that Bleach is getting another anime series, so kind of cool to see Tite Kubo kind of killing it right now. But Sakura Wars is a JRPG that was received well with its lone release over here stateside. However, not a lot of people checked it out. Commercially, it didn't do the best, but now it gets a second chance and a chance at redemption as well. It'll be dropping PlayStation 4 exclusive on April 28th. Next up, we have a Mega Man style game in Azure Striker Gunvolt. We have the Striker Pack coming to the PlayStation 4. This has been available on PC and Nintendo Switch and a couple other platforms for quite a while, but it has been inexplicably absent on the PlayStation 4, but that will be changing come April 23rd. From developer Inti Creates and publisher Nighthawk Interactive, the Azure Striker Gunvolt pack offers a lot of new features, including an exhilarated 60 frames per second upgrade, striking high resolution event graphics, and an exclusive new vocal track, injecting these supercharged side-scrollers with renewed vitality. You've got a lot of upgrades. Again, 60 FPS, jam along over 20 pop vocal tracks, including a new track made exclusively for the PS4 release. Get lost in the story with high-resolution event graphics and in-game text so the characters look better than ever, and journey through the levels and pursue menus on the new intuitive layout screen. So a lot to get into out of this one. $39.99 as a release. You got 2 separate games in there as well. If you're a fan of action platformers, Azure Striker Gunvolt is definitely going to be right up your alley, and the Striker pack will be dropping on April 28th. However, if you do want to get it a little bit earlier, you can check it out. The digital edition of the game will be dropping April 23rd, so that is something I wanted to note. Alright, moving on from that, we have another JRPG. Yes, April is just stacked with brand new JRPGs. We have Trials of Mana. Trials of Mana is a modern revival of the 3rd game in the seminal Mana series. The game, originally released in Japan as Senkekken Densetsu 3, has been fully rebuilt from the ground up in 3D. An overlapping story of interwoven destinies changes depending on who you choose as your main character and companions. Will these young adventurers be able to use the power of mana to save the world from the brink of destruction? Key features tout revamped 3D graphics. Trials of Mana is a full 3D remake of the 3rd game in the Mana series, originally released in Japan as Densetsu 3. The entire game has been fully rebuilt from the ground up. You get to pick your party, and depending on who you pick, there will be some alterations in the story, battles, and character growth, and a wide array of different musical tracks, new arrangements for a total of 60 music tracks overseen by composer Kikuta Hiroki. It is also possible to switch between the original and arranged soundtracks freely. Trials of Mana will be dropping on April 24th, so definitely a lot of reason to be excited for that. Alright, next up we have a brand new Souls-like game, and that is Hellpoint. Hellpoint is a game that's going a little bit under the radar, however, definitely looks like an interesting game. It's an intense action RPG taking place on Ira Novo, a derelict space station soaked in an intoxicating dark sci-fi atmosphere. Fight dreadful creatures, face the cosmic gods, and unravel their twisted story. Should the challenge be too great, play with a friend in local or online co-op. Visually, the game looks pretty good, and it does have a great and dark and gritty setting as well. Once a pinnacle of human achievement, the Ira Novo space station has fallen. Its ruins are now overrun by cruel, interdimensional entities acting as puppets of the malevolent cosmic gods. You have been created by the author, organically printed on Ira Novo, and set on a mission to find out the unholy series of events that led to the catastrophic incident known as the Merge. The game will be out on April 16th, and definitely one to keep your eyes on, especially if you are a fan of Souls-like experiences. And lastly, here's a game that I'm very much looking forward to, coming from NIS America, Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories. Definitely a little bit different from your typical NIS America experience, but it notes, in the shadow of a massive earthquake, you must brave a destroyed city where your choices are going to determine who survives. So a lot of decision making out of this game, and it also notes, when a massive earthquake strikes the city you're visiting, you find yourself at the epicenter of a chaotic and catastrophic crisis. It's up to you to rise above the calamity, gather your thoughts and your fellow survivors, and outlast the disaster. Aftershock, fires, collapsing buildings, and debris, and unstable ground are but a few of the threats you'll face in these nightmarish circumstances. What will you do when every passing second and every snap decision could spell the difference between life and death? Again, this is so different than the typical NIS America experience. Looks a little bit more mature, looks gritty, has a survival element to it. Very much interested to see how this one turns out. I'm not completely sold on it, but I am captivated by it. At the very least, I want to see if they can deliver on this one. It will be dropping sometime in April. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, I think April is a stack month of new PlayStation 4 game releases, from heavy hitters like the FF7 Remake, Resident Evil 3, Predator Hunting Grounds, to smaller titles like HyperParasite, Deliver Us the Moon, Azure Striker Gunvolt. There's a lot of good stuff coming out in the month of April. Let us know what games you're planning on picking up next month. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.